911, what is the address of your emergency?
There was a caller on the line. He had seen video of a girl in a cage.
He saw her. He described her crying.
In this cage on the floor. It was like a dungeon.
He had an entire room that was devoted to the torture of others.
The girl you just heard about is Alicia Kozakiewicz. On January 1st, 2002, she disappeared in the middle of the night.
The abduction captured the nation's attention as few cases do.
She was abducted in an internet-related attack. What happened?
It's exactly every parent's nightmare.
Sit and watch it on TV and you never think it can happen to you. But my God, when it does happen to you,
your mind is just going to every horror movie you've ever seen.
She had agreed to meet a friend she'd been chatting with online for 6 months.
A child predator luring a child.
How could you even have a relationship with somebody typing to them on a screen?
We were dealing with a very, very sick person.
Typically in these cases, you don't often find these children alive.
Kidnapped, assaulted, and left for dead, Alicia Kozakiewicz was soon to be gone, unless, by some miracle, the police could trace the internet predator holding Alicia and finally put an end to his reign of terror.
At this point, it was very rare that Alicia Kozakiewicz would have been found alive.
Hoping, praying, and wishing for news.
But are we going to be able to find her in time?
It's the first day of the new year in 2002. In the Kozakiewicz home in Pittsburgh, Alicia's mother, Mary, has just finished cooking dinner, and she sends Alicia's brother to come get her from her room. However, when he enters the room, Alicia is nowhere to be found.
My son went up to get her, and he comes down and says, "Mom, she's not up there." My thought was that, of course, she's up there. She's just in another room.
Together, they search every corner, looking under beds, checking behind dressers, and even scanning the bathroom. But there's no trace of her.
She was just gone.
Her coat is still hanging on the hook, her boots are neatly placed by the door, and her purse is still on the desk. It's cold outside, and it seems unlikely she would go out without her coat or boots. But where could she be? This dramatic behavior is not something Alicia would do. She was usually always at home in her room, doing homework or playing on the computer. As panic rises, the family realizes the front door isn't completely shut.
We did notice that the front door wasn't shut completely. At that point, we began to become frightened.
One thing is for sure, she wouldn't be alone on the streets because she still has a fear of the dark. But what if something sinister happened? In a state of panic, Mary dials 911. Moments later, the police arrive at their doorstep. The first questions they ask are, "Did you guys fight? Anything gone wrong? Maybe she ran off?" And Mary firmly believes that she didn't just run off.
And I said, "We didn't have a fight. She doesn't have anybody to run away with." So as a parent, you're thinking, absolutely not. No, she didn't run away.
Mary is gripped by fear and frustration. Suddenly, the police deliver the bad news. Local law enforcement must wait 24 hours before officially declaring Alicia missing. It's a standard procedure and they can't do anything right now. The family is in complete disbelief. Alicia could be in grave danger at this very moment, fearing for her life and possibly living her last minutes, even seconds. Time's of the essence.
Law enforcement's estimation was that she was most likely out with some friends and that she'd be home shortly. And when she did show up, to give them a call and let them know.
Until then, they can only wait. But Mary knows this is not something Alicia would do.
We sat there in the house, listening to the clock tick away, seconds of that long, long night. It is the most helpless, terrifying, devastating, emotional feeling that you will ever have.
The lights are all on, the doors unlocked, and the curtains wide open. They're praying that their child sees this and finds her way back home. Knowing that Alicia is out there somewhere and without any idea what she's going through, they feel hopeless. As they wait, the night feels like it will never end. But then, Alicia's father, Charles, decides to dial 911 once more, this time emphasizing that his 13-year-old daughter has not run away. Finally, his persistence gives results. Pittsburgh police swiftly pass on the details to the Crimes Against Children Task Force. Immediately, they mobilize federal, local, and state law enforcement, including the FBI. With no waiting period, they launch investigations at the moment. As the FBI agents come to the Kozakiewicz home, they separate Mary and Charles and start interrogating them separately.
They separated my husband and I, and we were questioned separately. and they went through everything.
They are trying to find out what went down yesterday. The parents paint a picture of their daughter as a sweet but kinda reserved kid.
Alicia was usually the quiet one among her friends.
It doesn't seem like she planned to run away either, because she didn't take any cash or clothes. Since there aren't any hints of family trouble, task force investigators and FBI agents conclude that Alicia hasn't run away.
They were, in our opinion, legitimately concerned their daughter was missing.
They declare her officially kidnapped. The police start questioning neighbors, but they haven't seen anything strange tonight. With zero clues, nor the crime scene, agents start questioning parents about where Alicia usually met new people. They found out she didn't go out very often, nor was she an outgoing person, but she did spend a lot of time on her computer.
We had worked enough of these cases to know that if there's a computer involved, it may be involved in what happened here. So we talked to the parents about what her use of the computer was, how lengthy it was.
A computer was introduced into their household as a gift for the children, aimed at enhancing their academic performance, assisting with homework, and helping with research. It also served as a means for the kids to interact with each other and enjoy some leisure time. Upon monitoring the computer usage, investigators noticed Alicia spent a lot of time in online chat rooms. However, when they ask the parents about this, they seem oblivious and don't have any clue who she may have been talking to.
And so in the case of our cybercrime victims, as far as child abduction, the computer, it could be our crime scene. That's why we took the computer that day to take a look at it.
As Mary Kozakiewicz watches the FBI seize her daughter's computer for examination, a terrifying thought comes to her mind. The possibility that something they introduced into their household might have led to a horrific outcome for their child sends panic through her whole body.
Panic is rising. Terror is rising. I was so scared. I was so cold. It was like ice water was running in my veins.
It has now been 3 hours since Alicia Kozakiewicz disappeared. Investigators grow increasingly convinced that she's fallen victim to a crime. This presents two chilling possibilities. Either she's been kidnapped by a stranger while out that night, or she's been lured away by a predator. As time slips away, the chances of finding Alicia are getting thinner by seconds. In the FBI headquarters, technicians search Alicia's computer history. Alicia engaged in a lot of chatting, using various platforms like iMessaging, AOL messaging, and instant chat. The FBI team requests a printout of all her conversations. Most of the chats are typical of a 13-year-old girl, gossiping with her friends about boys and school, and nothing stands out as immediately suspicious. In Kozakiewicz's home, Mary is frantically trying to stay occupied and offer assistance however she can.
When your child's missing, your mind's racing in a million different ways to all the horrible things that could happen, like every bad thing you've ever read or heard or every movie you've ever seen.
A friend of hers rushes over. She notices her stunned state and realizes she's not thinking clearly. She grabs the phone book and calls the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The woman from the center urges her to post the pictures around the area and online. This is the only thing she can do at the moment. Subsequently, the local media is doing everything they can to spread the word about Alicia. Alicia's parents are frantic with worry, desperate to ensure this story gets as far away as possible and that local reporters take it seriously.
This is a photo of 13-year-old Alicia Kozakiewicz. Her parents say she disappeared from their Crafton Heights home shortly after dinner on New Year's Day.
As Mary watches the news on TV, she starts praying that someone out there has noticed something, someone willing to step up, make the call, anything. Alicia's story spreads across screens, but the silence is deafening. Agent Clinton and his partner revisit Alicia's family, probing deeper for answers. To them, this looks exactly like a case of grooming.
My first thought is this is very typical of the process of grooming, which child predators, computer predators employ.
In 2002, online chats were still a relatively new thing, and there haven't been many cases like this before. They try to explain to parents about this grooming process, where someone pretends to be a young person in the chat room, telling the child what they want to hear. And then the grooming begins. These teenagers, unaware of any hidden motive, naturally lean towards someone who showers them with affection and attention they lack elsewhere. This manipulative tactic is known as a form of brainwashing, where the predator cunningly becomes the child's closest confidant, molding their beliefs and thoughts to align with their own. As the grooming progresses, the predator eventually suggests meeting in person.
Typically, in these cases, you don't often find these children alive. And that's what my partner and I feared.
If the FBI is correct about a chat room being at the core of this situation, and if Prince Charming was waiting outside her home just to say hello, who wouldn't be tempted to step out for a moment? With no signs of Alicia for more than a day, Tom Clinton and his partner decide to visit Alicia's school, seeking answers. They speak with Alicia's classmates and teachers. These conversations reveal new information, contrasting what they've heard from her parents. Classmates share how Alicia often arrived at school exhausted, mentioning late-night computer sessions. It appears Alicia has been hiding secrets from her family all along.
But then the classmates told us she was actually chatting on there with an older man. She had been talking to him for a while, and they had plans to meet.
Back at the office, they feel confident in their progress. Their past experiences tell them this child could be in grave danger. With 27 hours gone, the situation is looking worse by the minute. If Alicia has been abducted, the predator remains unidentified, leaving the investigators in the dark about what horrors she may be enduring. But then, a spark of hope appears. The FBI gets a call from Florida, and it's about a missing girl in Pittsburgh. She bears a striking resemblance to Alicia Kozakiewicz. Rescuers are currently in a race against time to find her, scouring the darkest corners of the internet. The dread is palpable, as they realize a child is in the clutches of someone intent on causing harm. It's a chilling reality. As panic rises, investigators are frantically searching for the mysterious older man, whom friends say Alicia met online. The clock is ticking, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The agents don't know the identity of the man Alicia has been talking to online. Even her friends are clueless. All they know is that it's a guy, and she was up late chatting with him. Quickly, they reached out to the tech expert assigned to the case, suggesting to focus on the time between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., hoping to uncover a username or a chat that might point to the guy she met online. They spot conversations asking for photos, among other things. In the meantime, local media keeps airing Alicia's photos, hoping someone saw something. After 39 intense hours, investigators hit a dead end, no closer to cracking the identity of their mystery man or locating Alicia. The mystery surrounding Alicia's whereabouts deepens by the minute.
Abductions are not frequent, but when they do happen, it usually has a terrible outcome, and reporters know that.
Then, a breakthrough. Agent Tom Carter's phone buzzes. As he is the acting supervisor of the Violent Crime Squad, he takes the call from the FBI switchboard operator. The caller from Florida claims to have vital information regarding a missing girl in Pittsburgh.
And what he told me was he had been talking to this individual online in a Yahoo chat room.
The caller is a member of a legal adult fantasy chat room, and he received a link to a private video from another participant in the chat.
He had seen a video being live streamed of a naked girl in a cage who looked a lot like the girl missing from Pittsburgh.
He describes her, she's crying, completely naked, and it's obvious she's been hurt. He's scared to do anything. He really doesn't want to get mixed up in it. As the man describes what he's seeing, Tom Carter is trying to gather as much information as he can. He's urging him to tell him who he is.
I was fearful that that guy would never call back.
But the man is done talking. He hangs up. If the girl in the video is indeed Alicia, it suggests she's currently facing a horrible situation. Investigators must swiftly trace the anonymous caller, but their efforts hit a roadblock when the call leads them to an empty payphone in Tampa, Florida. Alicia hasn't been seen for 2 days prior to that call. The fear factor just ramped up as they worry about the girl's safety. Knowing she's in the clutches of someone intent on causing harm is terrifying.
It was definitely a sense of dread to know that that child is in the hands of a perpetrator that wants to do evil things to her. It was really pretty horrific.
It's clear they're dealing with a seriously disturbed individual. Time is of the essence. Every passing moment is crucial. The entire team is committed to finding the perpetrator and rescuing Alicia. FBI agents tirelessly scour the internet, hoping to find the video of the girl they suspect to be Alicia. But so far, their efforts yield nothing but frustration. Meanwhile, in Florida, the anonymous caller remains in the dark. But then, all of a sudden, the phone rings again. It's the caller from Florida, calling back.
We were on the line for approximately 2 to 3 hours, me talking to him, trying to convince him that he needed to do the right thing and tell us what he knew.
The person on the line from Florida feels ashamed. He's been caught in a chat room he'd rather keep hidden. But when he realizes someone in the chat might be a threat to a young girl, he knows he can't stay silent. He's determined to assist the FBI in saving the girl he spotted trapped online. But when the investigator asks for his identity, that's where he puts his foot down. Talking with him on the phone is one thing, but sitting down with the FBI? That's a whole different thing. So as he's talking to him, they're tracing the call. Suddenly, the caller's location comes up, and agents in Florida rush to his house. The next second, the FBI knocks on his door. At that moment, he's upset, but also realizes the gravity of the situation. He knows he needs to cooperate fully with the authorities.
I think he knew at that point that this was a very serious matter and that he was going to be providing a lot more information to law enforcement.
He informs the FBI about his numerous exchanges with the individual in an online chat room. Together, they talked about their fantasies and gained trust in each other. This guy told him numerous times how he wanted to kidnap a girl and use her as his slave. While the informant thought it was just a joke, this man was dead serious. Just last night, the same day Alicia was kidnapped, this guy started boasting about kidnapping a 13-year-old girl. He even put her on the camera, proudly declaring, "She's mine now." The informant started to feel uneasy, and as he checked the news, he realized the horror. The girl from the news looked exactly like the girl on the camera. This was the exact moment he decided to call the police.
We knew how much courage it probably took for him to do it, so we were pretty certain at the time that the information that the informant was giving us was valid.
But due to the anonymity of the room, he can give the police only limited information. However, there's a crucial detail he's certain of: a screen name. He reveals that someone by the name of Scott goes by the handle master14slavegirls@yahoo.com. However, a screen name isn't a real name, and investigators are still in the process of uncovering the true identity of the man who has Alicia captive.
The screen name Master for Teen Slave Girls showed us a lot. We knew that the person that had Alicia was someone who wanted to have sex with this child.
As soon as they have the screen name from the caller, the agents jump into action to track down the IP address and subscriber details. This is now their only chance. However, tracking it becomes a real challenge because internet providers, such as Yahoo, are obligated by law to safeguard their subscribers' privacy and maintain the confidentiality of personal information. In the USA Patriot Act, there is a rule saying that if something urgent happens like this, internet companies can share details with the law enforcement. However, there's one problem. It's 5 a.m. in California, where Yahoo's base sits, and the entire office isn't working right now. But Alicia can't wait.
We know from experience that we had to act quickly. Every minute was important. This was a very, very dangerous situation.
They need to reach out to Yahoo to get the IP address and figure out who has the girl. In a rush, the call to the Sacramento FBI is made. They send an agent to Yahoo's president's house at 5 o'clock in the morning. The Yahoo president instructs an employee to go online and provide the details. Turns out the IP address is linked to Verizon. Immediately, another FBI agent calls Verizon, urgently explaining the situation.
We need the information from Yahoo right away.
We need the information ASAP, which they did provide.
Verizon swiftly responds and provides the necessary details. They give the IP address subscriber's identity as Scott Tyree from Herndon. With a name finally in their hands, investigators are one step closer, but the urgency remains. They still need to locate him, unsure if Alicia is safe or not. Agents immediately begin running a background check on Scott Tyree, discovering he's a computer analyst employed as a government contractor. He's clean, no criminal charges, nothing that screams bad guy. However, they have the IP address, and they have to follow the lead. Wasting no time, they use all the resources to secure the warrant.
On that morning, there was a lot of activity going on. We were putting the pieces together of the search warrant affidavit, and so that had to involve a lot of coordination.
With more than 2 days after Alicia Kozakiewicz disappeared, agents finally got the approval to search Tyree's house. The FBI swiftly dispatches one team to arrest him at his workplace and another to scour his house for Alicia. Every second counts. Without knowing if the girl is alive or not, the search team speeds towards Tyree's residence. At that moment, the FBI also contacts Alicia's family.
The FBI called and wanted us to come down to the FBI building immediately. I had no idea if they were calling me to say they had found my child or that they were calling me down to identify her body.
As the tension builds up, Scott Tyree is arrested at his workplace. He understands the gravity of the situation and decides to stay silent about Alicia's whereabouts. Meanwhile, another team of FBI agents rushes upon his Herndon residence, holding on to the hope of discovering Alicia Kozakiewicz alive. Subsequently, agents enter Tyree's residence. There's an eerie silence in response to their calls, raising concerns among the team. Is Scott holding Alicia somewhere else? Or has he committed an unthinkable act to hide his crime?
The house was completely normal, except for the basement.
The house appears ordinary, except for the locked basement door. Agents swiftly cut through the padlock, revealing a shocking scene. It resembles a dungeon, equipped with various tools for torture. This matches the description provided by an informant who saw it online. However, Alicia is nowhere to be found. Have they arrived too late?
At this point, it was very rare that Alicia Kozakiewicz would have been found alive.
The agents make their way back upstairs to thoroughly comb through the rest of the house. As they climb to the second floor, they enter a bedroom. Inside, their eyes catch something strange, a metal chain peeking out from beneath the bed. Alicia is alive. With a surge of urgency, they discover Alicia chained to the floor, wearing nothing but her underwear, with a dog collar fastened around her neck. Without a moment's hesitation, the agents swiftly spring into action, promptly severing the chain to free her. The team is ecstatic as they find Alicia alive, after more than 2 days of relentless searching.
The squad room was just a mass of people cheering, shouting messages of joy that she was alive.
The FBI arranges for Alicia's parents to be flown to Virginia for the long-awaited reunion they thought might never happen.
She was standing there, and she was so beautiful. It was as if they brought somebody back from the dead.
As Alicia finally reunites with her family, she recounts the horrors of the past 3 days.
I got up from the table and I walked out of that front door. I heard my name being called, and this man was squeezing my hand so tightly that I thought it was broken.
She recounts things he did to her when they got to his home.
He dragged me inside of this house, took off all of my clothing, and put a locking dog collar around my neck.
But despite all the horrors she has endured, she has not lost hope that her parents will rescue her.
I realized this very likely will result in him murdering me, and I need to stay alive as long as possible.
The FBI, after a job well done, found Alicia alive and put Scott behind bars.
They gave me a second chance at life.